I don't believe Manchester United could win the league with Michael Carrick as the manager, or Chelsea could win the league with Liam Rosenior as a manager. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, I'm only giving my honest opinion of what I feel and their sort of background, experience as managers, what they've done in the past. You know, you've got to be special. When you think of the managers who won the Premier League, there's something really special about 99% of them, I would say. And I just think probably Michael Carrick likes that and Liam Rosenior likes that. I might be proven wrong, but that's why I would take Michael Carrick out of that.
And this is where the problem starts. Not because Jamie Carragher is being disrespectful, he's not. And not because he's trying to stir outrage. He isn't doing that either. The problem is more subtle than that. What he's really saying is this: if you can't already see a manager winning the league, if you can't already believe it's possible, then that manager shouldn't be trusted. Belief becomes the entry requirement. And that's where things start to go wrong, because football doesn't work that way. It never has. Managers don't arrive special. They become special over time, through mistakes, through structure, through learning on the job. The moment you demand certainty before progress, you kill development. The moment you demand proof before opportunity, you guarantee stagnation. And for a club like Manchester United, that way of thinking isn't neutral. It's dangerous, because this isn't just a television opinion. It's a mindset that has shaped decision after decision for more than a decade. Quick judgments, short patience, endless resets. So this isn't really about whether Michael Carrick can win the league. It's about whether clubs like Manchester United can stop asking for answers before the work has even had a chance to begin. And to understand why this logic is so flawed, we need to look at what Sky Sports are really asking and what football history actually shows us. Let's slow this down and be precise. Because Sky Sports are making a very specific argument here. They're not saying Michael Carrick can't coach. They're not saying he lacks intelligence. They're not even saying he couldn't improve. What they're saying is this: unless you can already picture a manager winning the Premier League, you shouldn't commit to them. That's the standard. Belief first, results later, and that's where the logic breaks. Because belief isn't evidence, it's perception. It's shaped by reputation, by past jobs, by how familiar a name feels on television. According to this logic, managers aren't judged on what they're building. They're judged on how convincing they look before anything has happened. That immediately rules out development. It rules out learning curves. It rules out context. And for a club like Manchester United, that matters. Because it explains a pattern. The constant search for the finished product. The constant rejection of anything that needs time. The constant reset when certainty isn't immediate. So this isn't really about Carrick. It's about an assumption that elite football is predictable, that you can spot a title-winning manager on day one, and that anything short of that is a risk not worth taking. Football history tells us that assumption is wrong. This is where the argument really breaks down. Because once you step away from opinion and look at football history, the idea that managers must look like league winners on day one simply does not hold up. In Premier League history, immediate title success is rare. Only a handful of managers have ever won the league in their very first season. Arne Slot did it with Liverpool. Antonio Conte did it at Chelsea. Manuel Pellegrini did it at Manchester City. Carlo Ancelotti did it at Chelsea. And Jose Mourinho did it in his first spell at Chelsea. But there is an important detail that often gets ignored. None of these managers walked into broken clubs. They inherited strong, well-funded, title-ready squads. That is the exception, not the standard. For most elite managers, success took time. Arsène Wenger needed 2 seasons before winning his first league title. Pep Guardiola went trophyless in his first season at Manchester City and won the league in his second. And then there are the managers who built eras, not moments. Jurgen Klopp arrived at Liverpool in 2015 and did not win the league until 2020. Sir Alex Ferguson took 6 years to win his first Premier League title after arriving at Manchester United. Neither was seen as inevitable at the start. Both were doubted, both were given time. And there is one more part of this story that rarely gets mentioned. Only 3 managers have ever won the Premier League back-to-back. Sir Alex Ferguson, Jose Mourinho, Pep Guardiola. That tells you something important. Winning the league can take 1 to 3 years. Sustaining success takes much longer. So when Sky Sports frame the conversation around whether they can already believe a manager will win the league, they are skipping the most important stage. Becoming elite, most great managers were not trusted because they looked special. They became special because they were trusted. And that is why this debate matters. Because football history does not support certainty on day one. It supports process, patience, and progression. Which brings the conversation back to Manchester United, and why this way of thinking is especially dangerous for them. This debate would be relevant at any club. At Manchester United, it is far more serious. Because United do not just have a decision problem, they have a patience problem. 6 permanent managers in 13 years. And if Michael Carrick were to be given the job long term, he would become the 7th. That alone tells you something. This is not a club that gives managers time to grow. It is a club that keeps moving on before anything can fully take shape. Different coaches, different philosophies, different rebuilds, none allowed to run their course. And that is why the Sky Sports framing matters so much here. Because when punditry reduces the conversation to one question, can you win the league? It reinforces the exact behaviour that has kept United stuck. The moment belief wobbles, patience disappears. The moment doubt creeps in, the reset begins. This is how a club ends up constantly chasing certainty in an uncertain sport. Managers are not judged on progress, they are judged on projection. Do you look like a title winner right now? Do you feel convincing enough today? And when the answer becomes unclear, the clock starts ticking. That is why this thinking is not neutral. For a club that already struggles to commit, it becomes permission to move on early again. Permission to start over. Permission to repeat the same mistake with a different name. Carrick does not need to be guaranteed success to matter here. He does not need to be special on day one. What matters is whether Manchester United are finally willing to break their own habit. Because 6 permanent managers in 13 years is not patience. It is proof of the opposite. And until that changes, no manager, no matter how decorated, will ever be enough. This is where the conversation needs to slow down. Because judging Michael Carrick on whether he can win the league right now misses the point entirely. That is not the job in front of him. If Carrick were to take this role beyond the short term, success would not be measured in titles. It would be measured in direction. Can Manchester United look organised more often than not? Can performances make sense from week to week? Can players look clear on their roles instead of guessing through games? That is the baseline. A 6-month window is not about building a dynasty. It is about stability. Can standards be set and maintained? Can the structure survive different opponents, not just big nights? Can the team respond to setbacks without collapsing into confusion? Those things matter more than league positions in the short term. Because for Manchester United, the real failure of recent years has not been finishing 2nd, 3rd, or 4th. It has been starting over again and again with no continuity. If Carrick can steady the club, even temporarily, that has value. If he can leave behind clarity instead of chaos, that matters. If the next manager inherits something functional rather than fractured, that is progress. This does not require blind belief. It requires realistic evaluation, not asking whether he can win the league tomorrow, but whether he can make United better than they were yesterday. Because sometimes the most important step forward for a club like this is simply stopping the slide. And that brings us to the final part of this discussion. Not about Carrick himself, but about the choice Manchester United keep making. Since Sir Alex Ferguson left, Manchester United have been searching for the perfect manager. The elite answer. The one who looks convincing before anything has even been built. And here's the irony. United have already tried every version of that idea. They started with the chosen successor in David Moyes, handpicked by Ferguson himself. Then they went for proven winners like Louis van Gaal and Jose Mourinho. They pivoted to the emotional cultural reset with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Then the modern coach in Erik ten Hag. And most recently, the young project manager in Ruben Amorim. Different profiles, different philosophies, same outcome. That tells us the issue was never the type of manager. It's that none of them were allowed to become the answer. Every appointment came with an expectation of immediate belief. Every wobble created doubt. And once doubt set in, patience disappeared. So when Sky Sports frame the debate around whether you can already believe a manager will win the league, it feeds directly into this cycle. It assumes elite managers arrive fully formed rather than becoming elite over time. Manchester United do not lack ambition, they lack follow-through. And until that changes, the badge on the manager's CV will never matter. So maybe this is the wrong debate. Maybe the real issue isn't whether Michael Carrick looks like a league-winning manager right now. Very few ever did. The bigger question is whether Manchester United are finally prepared to let someone grow into the role. Because football history tells us the same story over and over again. Elite managers aren't spotted on day one, they're shaped over time. And when punditry frames success as something you must already believe in before the work begins, it pushes clubs toward the same mistake. Chasing certainty in a sport that doesn't offer it. Because until Manchester United change the way they think about managers, the outcome will always look the same. Different name, same ending. And that's the real danger in the question Sky Sports are asking. So what do you think? Do United need another ready-made elite manager, or do they need to change how they give managers time? Let me know in the comments.